A story is about to start. So open your ears and open your heart. This is a story called Thank You, Brother Bear. And the story is written by Hans Baumann, but the pictures are by Eric Carle. I bet you know a lot of stories by Eric Carle because his illustrations are very unique. If you get a chance, you should take a look at how he does his technique, but he uses tissue paper and paint and other things to make his drawings something that are really quite unique. And you can see that even in this. Look at that, how many layers there are. A lot of detail. Eric Carle definitely is gifted at what he does. Alrighty, let's start. Long ago and far away to the north, where even the great sea freezes solid as ice in the winter's cold, there lives 3 brothers named Strongbow, Shining Spear, and Chip. Strongbow and Shining Spear were older than Chip, and they were great hunters. But Chip loved the animals of the forest too much to hurt them. The 3 brothers lived in a small wooden house deep in the woods with Noonie, their grandmother, and Bright Sun, their little sister. Their parents weren't alive anymore. Whenever Strongbow and Shining Spear went hunting, Chip stayed at home. And when they were far away, Chip would call to his brothers, the ones that nobody knew about, not the ones that went away. Bear, Beaver, and Moose. Now it's safe for you to come out, he would tell them. One day in autumn, as the winds began to blow, Strongbow and Shining Spear said to Chip, "We must go hunting for our winter's food. We will be gone many days this time. Be sure you take care of our little sister." "Oh, I'll be all right," said Bright Sun, smiling her pretty smile. But one day, Bright Sun stopped smiling. She was ill. Grandmother Noonie tried all the remedies she knew, but still she grew sicker. Finally, Noonie said to Chip, "Only Wise Raven has the medicine that can cure her. But between our house and his house is the wild river, the wide swamp, the high mountain, the cold, deep lake. How can we possibly get to Raven? What can we do? You're just a little boy, too young for such a long and dangerous journey." "I will do it," thought Chip, but he said nothing. And when Grandmother Noonie was not looking, Chip slipped silently out of the house. There's Bright Sun. She doesn't look so good, huh? There's Chip. All right. Chip walked through the forest until he came to the bank of the wide river. Grandmother was right, he thought. I cannot cross this river. But if I don't, what will happen to Bright Sun? Just then Beaver came by. "Don't worry, Chip," said Beaver. "I'll help you." Quickly, Beaver chopped down a tree to make a bridge, and Chip hurried across the bridge to the other side of the river. "Thank you, Brother Beaver," said Chip. But there, on the other side of the river, Chip found a wide, muddy swamp. "I can never get through this swamp," he thought. Grandmother was right. But just then, Moose came by and said, "I'll help you." And Moose carried Chip right across that wide, muddy swamp. "Thank you, Brother Moose," said Chip. And all the other side of the swamp. And at the other side of the swamp, however, Chip saw a tall, tall mountain like a huge wall of rocks. Grandmother was right, thought Chip. No one could get over this mountain. But just then, a bear came by and said,
"I will help you. Get on my back."
and with that, Chip got on his back, and the bear climbed right over the mountain. Thank you, Brother Bear. Wow. It's amazing. But now Chip found himself at the shore of a wide, deep lake, and Chip put his hand into the lake. It was cold as ice. And at the other side he could see a hut which the wise raven lived. Well, Grandmother was right, thought Chip. I could never get across this wide, deep lake. But just then a huge black bird appeared and called to him, "Follow me!" The bird flew out over the water. To Chip's surprise, he found himself changed into a fish. In his new form, he was able to swim across the whole wide river lake easily. When he reached the other side, he saw the big black bird fly into the hut where the raven lived. Then out of the hut came the wise raven himself. He covered Chip in a warm blanket, and Chip was no longer a fish, but a little boy again. He was feeling very cold. When Chip explained that Bright Sun was ill, Wise Raven gave him a special medicine that he needed to give to Sun, and Chip rowed back across the lake. "Thank you, Wise Raven," said Chip. "Now I must take this medicine back to my little sister." At the foot of the mountain, Brother Bear was already waiting for him to help him all the way home. And at the swamp stood Brother Moose. And Brother Beaver even helped him back across the wide river. "Where have you been? I've been worried about you," scolded Grandmother Noonie when Chip got back home. Instead of answering her, Chip handed her the medicine for Bright Sun. After a few days, Beaver, Moose, and Bear came to the wooden house to inquire about Bright Sun's health. "Thank you, Brother Bear, Brother Beaver, and Brother Moose," said Bright Sun, smiling. "I'm perfectly well again." Just at that moment, the hunters came back, and their sacks were loaded with game. No one would go hungry that winter. Shining Spear, Strong Bow, and Strong Bow pointed at Beaver, Moose, and Bear. "Who are these strangers?" they asked. Bright Sun said, "They are not strangers. They are Chip's other brothers." "What do you mean?" said Strong Bow and Shining Spear. "We are Chip's brothers." "Chip has many brothers," said Noonie, the grandmother. "Come inside and have something to eat and listen, and I will tell you a story." She smiled and began. "Long ago and far away to the north, where even the great sea freezes solid to ice in the winter's cold, there lived 3 brothers. And that is the end. So even in this story, we can see people being at peace with the animals. Unfortunately, we don't get to usually talk to animals, but it's nice that we get to be in a world where animals get to be a part of it with us, isn't it?